Crime and film noir are two things that I really enjoy. I love listening to old-time radio classics from the 40s and 50s, the ones that started the cliches that we all now recognize. The Detail is an episodic comic book-style interactive story that feels like an earnest attempt at capturing some of the grit and tone of a combination of Law & Order and The Departed. The Detail is developed and published by Rival Games. When finished, The Detail will have 5 total episodes. This review is of only the available episode, which is episode 1, Where the Dead Lie. The Detail's first episode revolves around aging detective Reggie Moore. It follows a murder scene, working with evidence, dealing with an informant, and trying to catch up with the perpetrators. The Detail starts off with an introductory sequence, which involves a pair of officers infiltrating an apartment. What results is rather intense and feels impactful, and then it just stops short, tripping us into the downtime in the life of Detective Moore, who proceeds to contrast his work life with his personal life. Although this downtime is also short, we only get about a minute or so of dialogue and character development about the detective himself. We're also introduced to a woman who we never see again. This intro sequence unfortunately sets the trend for the rest of the episode. Slow build-up, choice, tough choice, intense moment, and then it stops before it develops into anything. In general, it felt as if the game didn't want the player to feel too invested into any one scene. The writing in a game like this is very important, and I can say that for the most part the dialogue is entertaining and interesting, though it's not without its boring moments, notably from Joe Miller, one of the main characters. I don't think even Liam Neeson could deliver Joe's lines and make them sound serious. In the 90 minutes or so of the episode, it never really delves deep enough into the situation it's portraying for it to have really much of an impact. 1 or 2 scenes have strong images, but they don't go anywhere with it. It's somewhat streamlined. This is only 1 episode. However, in episode 1, a lot happens, but it's not really deep. Someone got tortured, cool, pick a choice, and let's get a move on. Wouldn't want to have this have any sort of emotional toll on the character or anything. The gameplay of The Detail is what you might expect from a dating sim, actually. Click here to see more dialogue and make choices. The only times it deviates from this formula is during the opening scene and during the climax at the end. That doesn't mean it isn't engaging. It is. I was surprised at how meaningful my choices felt when I was playing, in terms of the responses from characters. I felt I was being listened to. Even if my choices didn't affect the plot, it was a good facade. A larger problem that affects many games like this is that you have control over very small things, but when there's something you see coming, you can't control it. Most of the ending of this episode I saw coming from far away and tried to use my choices to avoid it, but it seemed specifically scripted to force certain major events to happen with or without my consent. Like I mentioned earlier, there are certain sections where there is some amount of gameplay or control. For instance, a lock-picking minigame to open a door, or being able to choose how to defend yourself against an enemy. Many of these choices don't really affect the outcome of the episode, but rather are there for achievements, so don't expect to cleverly outwit a situation. Now, the visuals are where the game falls flat much of the time, mainly because it's very inconsistent. It varies between feels just like a comic book and, that's nice honey, let me stick it on the fridge for daddy to look at when he comes home from work. I know, but in a game as dark and serious as this, some of the faces in line work are just silly looking. DeviantArt comes to mind when I describe the art quality in this episode. Audio and sound are slightly better with a nice soundtrack to fit with the dark tones of the episode. However nice they are, I don't feel there is much variety. You're listening to the same 2 to 3 songs the entire time as they rotate or fade in between. The real issue I have with the audio is the severe lack of it, mainly ambience. The scenes and environments basically have no ambient sounds or room tone. You hear nothing but music, and that's if music is playing. It's common for conversations or certain places to have no sound at all, making them feel completely dead, killing any atmosphere. As my regular viewers know, I'm pretty picky with my games, but to summarize my thoughts on The Detail, I still look forward to playing all the episodes when they release. The Detail Episode 1 is available on Steam for $5.99. I'd say that's pretty expensive for what you get, so I'd recommend a sale. As always, my reviews are my opinions. Sometimes I need to throw that out there. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review or found it useful, please rate the video, comment on your thoughts, and subscribe for more reviews and first impressions in the future. Until then, I will see you next time.